Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Pause the video right now to check out my social media, my radio show, and thatdrummerguy.com. And most of all, enjoy the following presentation.
Hi, Josh. This is Mike.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. Thanks for calling, man.
Oh, not a problem. Thank you very much for taking time to do this interview.
My pleasure.
Oh, well, awesome. Well, of course, we are here to talk about the brand new album from Mike Lepond's Silent Assassins, Pawn and Prophecy, which is coming out in 2 weeks through Frontiers Music. I've gotten the chance to be able to check out this album over the course of this week, and I absolutely love the direction that you're taking this band in, and easily this is some of my favorite work that you've done to date.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it took about 2 years to put this album together, and a lot of hours. But I'm proud of it, and I appreciate that you like it.
Oh, not a problem. So, how did the writing process for this album begin?
Well, there was a couple of different ways. From the first album sessions that I did, I had some riffs laying around that really weren't put together. So the first thing I did was revisit some of those riffs, and change them, update them, and get them finished. And then I also wrote a couple of brand new songs. And throughout the whole time, obviously the 20-minute song was a work in process throughout the whole 2 years. So with those three things, that's how I put it together.
Oh, it's so great to hear that too. It's just like with the success that came from the first album. I mean, I'm glad to see that everything came the way that it should be to be able to get this new album in the works. Because it's like I really love the debut album, and I love the direction that everything's going in here, and it's great to see that progression.
Yes, thanks. Yeah, I think with this second one, I guess I experimented a little bit more with writing a folk song and with a long epic song, and any mistakes from the first album, that maybe I did as far as doing things wrong in recording and this, I learned from them, and the recording for this album was a lot smoother and a lot more fun.
Yeah, and that's definitely the way it should be. I mean, there's so many trials and tribulations that come into songwriting, let alone like getting a brand new project off the ground, and just the fact that things are starting to get smoother when it comes to that. I mean, it just makes everything feel so much better.
Yeah, it's great to just, keep learning and keep getting better and better. Yeah, I mean, so many things like the guitar sound and the drum sound, I'm a bass player, so I don't really even, I don't even know where to start when it comes to that. So those are all these things I had to learn, in producing. I had to just learn how to do that. It's so much different, when you have a band and everybody just works together, and then you do a solo project and you have to make all the decisions, and, so that becomes kind of scary at times. But, it's also at the end, I'm very proud of what I did. So it all works out in the end.
So with that, I mean, with taking on more aspects rather than just playing bass, especially when it comes to your own project, what would you say you've learned the most between the debut album and this album?
I think what I learned the most was just in the recording process, the first album was the first time I ever played guitar on, recorded a guitar, so I didn't know what I was doing. So, my guitar player for Symphony X, Michael Romeo, he kind of coached me through the whole thing, and just little things about how to hold the guitar and where to hold your hands, and, simple things like that. But it was all good to learn for when I did it again on the second album. And, just trying to find, guitar sounds and drum sounds. And, the bass was the easy part because I'm so used to it. But all these other things, but sound-wise and even vocal things, vocal harmonies, where to put them and all this stuff. This was stuff I never really dealt with, for years with Symphony X. I was just the bass guy, so I had to really step out and learn all these things. But in the end, I did learn, and of course you still make some mistakes in the recording process, and there's always things you wish you could do differently, but I'm absolutely proud of how it all turned out, considering, the songs and all the and all the concepts that I wanted to put in there.
Yeah, and when you're getting guitar help like that, I mean, it's a great thing to be able to have someone like Michael Romeo being able to help you out. I mean, like, if you're gonna
Right.
learn how to play guitar and get all those little nuances, it might as well be him.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. I mean, he's just such. Not only is he a ridiculously good guitar player, but his recording skills are just amazing. And he helped me. He did all my orchestration as well. And it's just so he just made the songs. He just helped me make the songs sound so good and come out so good, and just the sounds, just the quality of the sounds of all the instruments really came out great. So I definitely have him to thank, probably more than anybody. So yeah, in that way I'm blessed. And also my keyboard player Michael Pinella helped out on the long song as well, so that was awesome too.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention that too. I mean, it's so awesome to hear you're playing on another epic like the title track. I mean, just like being able to see like all the soundscapes that are being shown off and all the great dynamics and diversity that's going on there. It's great to see another great epic at your disposal.
Yeah, the funny thing was I had this concept for at least 10 years or more, maybe even 15, and I originally, anytime Symphony X was going to do an album, I would pitch this idea, to do Shakespeare's Macbeth. And it just kind of never happened, just the offer was always there, but they just kind of went with another concept came around and we went with that. So finally I just decided to do it myself. And when I did do it, all the songwriting techniques that I learned from Symphony X, I put into this song. And, of course, I definitely wanted to have Romeo and Pinella do some stuff on the song because they're known for that kind of stuff. So it was fun, and, I think they had fun and putting it together as well.
And I imagine that's also why you chose that as the album title as well, with Pawn and Prophecy.
Yeah, when I was, when I was researching ideas for songs for Symphony X, I came across, some Shakespeare, and I checked out some of Shakespeare's plays, and I thought Macbeth was just so dark, and it had witches and ghosts, and I was like, wow, this would be really cool, for like a heavy metal song, and so the idea always stayed with me, and then, when I finally decided to do it, I was just really excited because I got to take the song in so many different directions, and that was the big challenge. The big challenge was, how do you keep the interest of a listener for 20 minutes? So I just made the song go in all these different styles and all these different directions and feels, and I tried to keep some of the riffs or themes to come back once in a while, so the listener can kind of remember and say, oh yeah, there's that part. And then I wanted to have a big climactic ending. And even there was one part where I said to myself, the song is so serious. Let's just lighten everything up a little bit, and let's just put a blues part in. It'll be fun, and it'll lighten up the mood, and then we could go back to the serious after.
I did want to ask about that too, because I remember the first time that I heard that, I had to do a double take and make sure that the sound didn't switch out into something else. It's like, oh wow, this oddly fits, but I never would have expected it.
Yeah, and I said to myself, everything is so serious. Let's just do something fun, and and I think everybody will just kind of laugh at it. And when Michael Romeo first heard it, he was like, dude, what is this? This isn't metal. It's like, I know, that's the idea. So it was funny.
So with all that in mind, I mean, with like all the great reception that's going on from like everyone that's been a part of the band, and of course yourself enjoying it and hearing my views on it as well, what has been the overall reception to the album that you've heard so far?
Yeah, well, it's still, I've only gotten a few reviews back so far, but it's all been very, very positive, and, I'm very happy that, the response has been really, and the people that have listened to the Epic song, they say they really like it, which is great, and they like the direction of the whole album, they like the classic metal So, I mean, the response has been really good so far. And I'm very lucky because the response for the first record was really good too, as far as Symphony X fans and the media and heavy metal fans. So far it's going great.
And with that, I mean, obviously with the Epic being like a huge a focal point for the album, how hard was it to be able to decide like what singles and songs were going to be shown off from the album ahead of time?
Right. Well, when it came to that, I just said to myself, well, I'm just going to let Frontiers, I'm going to let them listen to it, and whatever singles they want to release, that's fine with me, So, yeah, they wanted to release Avengers of Eden, which is kind of like a Motorhead-style song, and then Hordes of Fire, which is kind of like a Judas Priest kind of style, and that was fine with me, I probably would have released, if it was up to me, track 2, which is called Hordes of Fire. That's probably what I would have released, but people will hear it soon enough, so it's fine.
Oh yeah, and that's the great thing about being able to digest this album over this week is just like there is so many great nuances and different styles that are being shown off, like a lot of great classic metal moments, a lot of great heavy metal moments. Obviously nods to Symphony X are shown throughout there as well. I mean, it's got a little bit of something for everyone as a metal fan.
Yeah, well, growing up, I was, of course, I loved classic heavy metal and I loved thrash metal. Those styles all come through, and then in the early 2000s, I really started to follow Blackmore's Night. I just really loved what Richie was playing on this kind of style, and I found myself trying to play his guitar stuff on my bass, and it was sounding really cool. So that became a huge influence. So that's definitely a part of this album too. And of course, the Symphony X style comes through basically because, and just songwriting overall. I mean, I've learned so much from Michael Romeo and Michael Piniella as far as just, songwriting and being able to take songs and take them in different directions, and just all that comes through. So I'm lucky enough where I have the hard rock, heavy metal influence, and I can write with the knowledge of Symphony X's approach.
Yeah, and I can definitely hear that through, especially through the Epic track. I mean, it's just like, it's got so many of those great different styles on there, and you can definitely tell with like being able to write with such prolific songwriters, when you are able to incorporate that into your own sound, you're able to take that knowledge and form it into your own way, and I really love that about the album.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the Epic, it doesn't sound like a Symphony X epic, but it definitely has elements that maybe make you think of Symphony X a little bit, because it has some thrash elements, heavy metal elements, classical, everything, I threw funk, everything. So yeah, it was so much fun to do, and I think, looking back, when I was younger, I could never have written an album like this when I was younger. I needed to have the and age in order to write something like this.
And with that, how does it feel to finally be able to get this album out in 2 weeks?
Oh boy, it's such a like a relief, because it's like the album was probably finished. I probably finished the album as far as recording it maybe a year ago, and then it's like, then, you got to wait because now you got to shop for a label, and all that takes months, and then the label needs 3 or 4 months to promote it before it comes out. So, so it's taken so long, and so I'm finally really, really excited to get this album out.
Yeah, and it's great to see that you did get to start working with Frontiers Music. I mean, they cover so many bands and artists that I really, truly appreciate, and it's great to see all the coverage that they've been doing for this album as well. I mean, I constantly keep seeing the ads and the lyric videos, music videos, everything that's going on with this album, and it's great to see that kind of promotion.
Yeah, I was so excited when I got the offer from Frontiers because, I know they're such a powerful label, and I was like, wow, man, they're really going to, so if there's any chance of it doing anything, I mean, they would be the label to do it.
And with that, I mean, obviously, like you were saying, it was possibly about a year ago that you got done with the recording aspects of this album. Are you already thinking about album 3 yet, or is that still a ways away yet?
Well, in the record contract, when I got the record contract for Frontiers, there's an option for 2 more records. So that, got my wheels turning, and I already started writing, more songs. So I want to be ahead of the game. So I'm already working hard on a 3rd one, and a 4th one. So if, hopefully they'll be up for, releasing them, and, it would make it like a real band.
Oh, that's awesome to hear that. I mean, with everything that I've heard from the first 2 albums, the fact that you're already thinking that far ahead into the 3rd and 4th albums, I mean, that just gets me very excited for when those come to fruition.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I mean, it's exciting to me too. I mean, I love to write songs, and it just feels so good when you write something and you like the way it sounds. It's such a great moment, and it's even better when your friends and fans, they listen to it and they like it. I mean, it's an amazing feeling. So, I'm definitely feeling creative, and I'm definitely writing a lot.
And with that, is there any other plans that you got coming up in 2018?
So for 2018, I'll probably be doing some touring with Ross the Boss from Manowar. I recorded bass on his album last month, so that'll probably be coming out in April or May, and I'll be doing a U.S. tour and a European tour in March and April with him. I definitely would like to do some touring with the Silent Assassins as well. So yeah, I mean, 2018, I'll definitely be busy.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that on both ends. I mean, being a huge Ross the Boss fan, all the way from his first solo album is when I really discovered his stuff outside of Man of War, and the fact that there might be some potential touring for Silent Assassins too. I mean, I'm very happy to hear that, because I would love to be able to hear these songs live.
Yeah, I mean, it's another goal or bucket list thing to be able to play these songs that, I took so long to write, to be able to play them on stage and see what the reaction is from, the people in the venues. So I definitely want to do that. A regret I had from the first album was I never got to play any shows, because we jumped right into the Underworld album and then toured on that, and I didn't really have time. But this time, I definitely want to make some time and do some shows.
Well, with that in mind, is there like any songs that in particular that stick in your head that you think would go over well live?
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, I can't play the long songs, but because I don't know where I'll get female singers all over the world. But I think, just like those straight ahead heavy metal songs, they just, they're always good live. I guess, even the singles, as far as like, either, let's see, what would be a really good one to play live? Black Legend would be great to play live. Avengers of Eden, Hordes of Fire, all those songs, they're just straight ahead, headbanging songs. They're really meant for live, honestly. So, I would play all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea that is a possibility, I mean, that makes me really excited, because, I mean, like, as much as I love the debut album, I mean, just like everything that's come with this new album, which of course is dropping in 2 weeks through Frontiers Music, with all the songs and the styles and the great headbanging moments, like you mentioned, I mean, just like imagining that in a live setting, I just imagine it going over so well.
Yeah, I mean, what I would want to do is try to put on a heavy metal show as I remember it when I was growing up, that try to capture that feeling that you were at, in the glory days of heavy metal. So it would definitely be fun, and I'm definitely to do it.
Oh, awesome. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And if there's any dates, when that comes to fruition, if there's any dates near me, I definitely want to go and see this live, because I'm just imagining everything in the live setting, and I want to have that good old-fashioned heavy metal headbanging experience again, just like you were talking about, because I think that's really needed nowadays.
Yeah, these days, and there's a lot of great bands, but there's so many bands where, everything is just oversaturated with keyboards and all these other things, when the heavy metal is really about that guitar riff. That guitar riff has to hit you and start your head banging, and then that vocalist has to come in and just finish the job. And I think a lot of it in some places has gotten lost a little bit. So it would be great to just kind of bring that back and show people metal show the way I remembered it.
Yeah, and the great thing about getting into the touring aspect of the band now is that you do have a great collection of songs to be able to pull from now.
Yeah, so now I could easily, I can easily fill an hour, no problem. And that would be awesome. It really would be an awesome experience. I think it would be a cool show.
Oh, very much so. Well, again, thank you so very much for taking the time to be able to talk to me about everything that's going on with this brand new album, Pawn and Prophecy, which is coming out in 2 weeks through Frontiers Music. Like I've mentioned a few times in this interview, I absolutely love what's going on here. I think there's some of the finest songs that you've been a part of are a part of this album, and I'm glad to see all the positivity that's going on with this album, and I'm hoping for the best for everything that comes with it, with the future albums and with the touring, because it deserves all the praise that it's getting, and you deserve all the congrats that you can get for it, because this is just amazing stuff.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And yeah, I'm very excited. 2 weeks away, and looking forward to it.
Before we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to mention that I hadn't brought up yet?
I think you covered all the cool parts. I'll just say that, to all your listeners, thank you for supporting me all these years, and I really appreciate it. I get to live my dream because of the fans, and I'll never forget you guys, and I'll probably see most of you on tour this year, so, please say hello to me if you can.